Today's boot might be just a little too good at being minimalist, and while it looks and sounds like it's really tough and rugged, it's really at home just before the trail gets serious. Hey folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today, my brother Eric and I are going to be talking about the Origo Nomad, which has this really interesting balance of rugged looks and minimalism. We'll definitely say right here off the bat, this is not a go-to tough, hard use hiking boot, but it could be. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Eric and I are going to jump back and forth talking about our likes and our dislikes for this boot. If you're interested in jumping around to different parts of the video, there are timestamps down in the description. And if you have any questions about this shoe that we didn't answer in the video, make sure to let us know down in the comment section and we'll answer those questions for you. But for now, I'm going to pass things over to Eric to get into his first like for the Origo Nomad.
All right, so when it comes to my first like with the Origo Adventurer boot, I want to mention the shape of these things, the shape of the last that Origo is using, because we really like it. It being the very first shoe from them that we've reviewed, we wanted to mention that. So if you take a look at it there, it is pretty dang wide. It is very anatomical and very foot shaped, but I don't think that it looks awkward. I don't think that it looks clownish. Now, you'll have to let us know down in the comment section. Maybe that's just because my eye is getting so used to these wide toe box shoes that I've been wearing for so long. But again, in my opinion, that just looks normal to me. And it's so wide, there's plenty of room in there. We put these in our wide category of shoes. Very comfortable in the toe box. They might be just a little bit low volume if you take a look at it there, but the materials used, this leather is pretty thin, it's very malleable, and it's not restrictive at all. So I really do like the last that Origo is working with. This is an awesome shape that we've really enjoyed.
The first like that I want to bring up for the Nomad is going to be the minimalism. The overall stack height of this thing is going to be 10.5 millimeters overall. It feels thinner than that, honestly, on foot and holding it in hand. This thing's extremely light, and because of that lightness and that thinness, it's going to be ridiculously flexible. This is a boot that you can roll up, which is not something that we see all the time. You're gonna get fantastic ground feel out of this, and it's going to function perfectly with your feet. Huge fan of a boot that looks like this and has that minimalism.
All right, the next thing that I really like about this boot is just the way that it's been constructed. This is easily the most minimal boot that we have ever come across that uses stitch down construction. So the way that this upper is attached to this midsole and this outsole is with stitching that goes all the way through. So you can actually see that right there, that the stitching goes all the way through the outsole there. And that gives this thing a lot of durability. It makes it so that you can re-sole it, which is really cool for a boot that's this minimal. And I've got the stack height coming in at about 10.5 millimeters. That's per the website. So you've got like a 3 millimeter outsole, a 2.5 millimeter midsole, and then between the struggle board and the insole gives you the rest of that stack height to bring it up to 10.5. Every other boot that we've gotten so far that's made with stitch down construction sits at about 15 millimeters at the lowest end. And so for this one to be constructed that way, but to be so minimal, is really cool. This is one of those that you can roll up into a ball, which is really impressive for a boot like this.
The next like that I want to bring up for the Nomad is going to be the emphasis on the use of quality construction methods and quality materials. I'm just going to read this straight off of their website. It says, meticulously crafted by expert artisans in Leon, Mexico, these boots feature the finest leather, which is proudly certified by the Leather Working Group for its quality and sustainability. Eric and I don't know everything that goes into the construction of these boots. It looks like a stitch down construction, which we have always had a good experience with. And then if the leather is certified by that group, it's going to be high quality. It's probably going to last a good long time and wear really well. I'm a huge fan when companies place a big emphasis on making sure their construction and their material quality is really high.
All right, so the last like that I have for this thing is just the way that it looks. I think it's a super nice looking boot. There's really nothing special going on with the way that they've got these overlays. So you've got the vamp, it's pretty normal. You've got this heel counter over here, and you've got the toe. It doesn't have a toe cap or anything like that, so it looks pretty smooth and pretty streamlined. I love this design. I think that they did a really good job with it. I think that you can totally dress this thing up. So I've been wearing it with my work uniform quite a bit. I need a black shinable shoe, and this leather doesn't exactly take a shine like I think they mean in my policy there, but I think it's close enough. And so I have been wearing this with my slacks at work quite a bit. I think you can dress it up in nicer situations, and you can definitely dress it down and just have fun with it casually too. It is just a really overall great looking boot.
The last like that I have for the Nomad is going to be the traction pattern that they included on the bottom of this thing. So again, it's kind of made to be more of a round town boot. You can tell by the stack height, you can tell by the thinness and the minimalism that that's kind of more what it's built for. It's not really built for rugged use, but an outsole like this makes it a little bit more capable, and I appreciate that. Just doing that makes this thing significantly more versatile than it would have been if they'd gone with a less aggressive traction pattern overall. So I love the inclusion of an aggressive traction pattern that doesn't seem to take away from its minimalism. With our likes of the Nomad out of the way, it's time for us to get into our dislikes, but first we want to mention we do have a link to Origo down in the description. If you use that link to go to their website and purchase anything, we do get a little bit of a kickback, which helps the channel in the long run. We do like the feature set that Origo's Shoes has so far. We have another one that we're working with as well, and hopefully more for the future. We think they are a solid brand, and if you're interested in checking them out, make sure to use that link down in the description. Anytime we work with a nice roomy toe box like the one that we have here on the Nomad, we have to mention Creeper's toe socks, because in our opinion, toe socks is the best way to take advantage of all of that toe box and let your toe splay out, and Creeper's is our favorite. We have tested over 20 brands of toe socks, and Creeper's is still our #1, and now they're expanding on their lineup. They now have a boot sock, a sock specifically made for hiking. It's got a little bit more weight in the heel so that it can protect your heel if there's some heel slip in your boot, and just so it'll last longer overall. If you're interested in checking out the new boot sock from Creeper's or any of their other offerings, use the link down in the description. It'll auto apply a 10% off discount code to your order at checkout.
All right, so when it comes to my dislikes of the Origo Adventurer boot, there's really only one thing that I can think of, and it's that they've used a pretty thin leather to construct this guy with, and that's just a durability issue, right? When you compare it to other boots in the space that are using stitch down construction, that are being handmade with really nice leathers, they're always thicker, and this one is just a pretty thin layer over your foot. So I think that because it's leather, it's gonna last for a while, especially if you take care of it. It's definitely not gonna last as long as the other boots in the space that are using thicker and more durable leathers. Now, there's a bit of a trade-off there because those other boots have a ton of break-in and they're really stiff and they're not as barefoot. This is gonna give you an extremely barefoot and very minimal experience right off the bat with no break-in period at all, but you definitely are taking that trade-off of less durability.
Getting into my dislikes for the Nomad, I really only have one, and it's that I wish they had a beefed up version of this boot. I like this specific version of the boot because I like the minimalism. I like that it can be casual, and when I'm wearing something casual, I want it to have lots of flexibility and ground feel and comfort. And this has all that, but based on the way that it looks, I wish it could do a little bit more. I wish I could take this thing on some rougher trails. And I did, but I don't think it can handle that abuse long term. I took it on a hike that had about 1,700 feet of elevation. It was pretty rocky. The terrain changed a lot, and underfoot, it was pretty uncomfortable on some of the rockier terrain. On like mud and dirt and stuff, it was totally fine, but the upper thinness also takes away from its ruggedness because if I bumped into anything, I definitely would have known about it. It would have been painful to stub my toe on a rock or a root or trip on a branch in this thing. So I'd love to see them take all of the features of this, the shape, the construction methods, and move that over into a Nomad Pro, beef it up a little bit and make it more capable. That would be awesome. The only thing that detracts from this boot for me in the end is going to be the lack of ruggedness.
All right, so when it comes to my final opinion of the Origo Adventurer boot, would I recommend this for other people? And definitely if you're looking for an extremely minimal, casual barefoot boot. I don't think that the name Adventurer really lives up to what this thing actually is. I know we've got some B-roll of Chris taking it out on a hike, but with how minimal it is, especially with how thin that leather is, it's not something that I would recommend. I'm definitely only gonna use this guy in casual situations. But I do love the way that it's been built. I love that it's a stitch down construction. I love how minimal it is because I want my casual shoes to be as minimal as possible. I love the way that it looks, and I love the way that it has shaped, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So I definitely would recommend this to anybody looking for a casual boot. I really have enjoyed wearing this adventurer boot from Origo.
Getting into my final opinion when it comes to the Nomad. Would I recommend this to somebody who is looking for a barefoot style boot that has some pretty good minimalism? Absolutely, especially when it comes to the shape and the comfort of this thing, the ground feel that it has, and then the really good look that it has. This thing's in a class all of its own to some degree. I think that most of the boots that are going to look like this and be this well constructed are going to be significantly more beefed up. And while I kind of want that for the Nomad, I also like that it doesn't have that it is on the more minimal, flexible, ground feely side, because we don't get that out of a lot of other boots that look like this. So it is pretty unique in that aspect, and I'm just a huge fan of it overall. I would highly recommend this boot to anybody, with the hope for the future that we might see a more rugged, more hikeable version, because I think that would also be very cool. Either way, Origo has done a fantastic job with this boot, and I really, really like it.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.